the investment to get things right, one of the things pharma underestimates almost on a weekly basis is how expensive it is to have dynamic digital technology, and other parts of the industry do that just normally. They understand it's a perpetual investment. I think there are other also slightly less obvious uses of technology. One thing that I've always, when I was running the omnichannel team last year before I moved on to consulting, was to say to the team, don't come to me with technological gizmos because you want to apply them. Show me that they solve a problem. And there was a great example that one team wanted to implement a chatbot, which is great. So it's the implementation of AI. And if you think about many other parts of our life, chatbots are excellent. So if we're ringing up somebody, they can reduce call center numbers because they can get you to a certain point and direct you to a smaller call center. Because what they want to do is reduce costs and ultimately give a more precise customer experience to get you to the expert you need. For us, the chatbot wasn't being used by that. We weren't getting enough customer contact. So what we were then suggesting was to put a chatbot in, which would take away human contact. So you've got to check that the insight underneath it is true to the vision. The other point is that AI actually can solve much bigger problems. And the classic is, I worked in an therapeutic area, which is idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. What was the best use of AI in that disease area? It was reading CT scans. Now, that wasn't going to help us as a company. It would help us, for example, with clinical trials, because it would give us a faster diagnostic read. But if we could crack the code on reading CT scans and get diagnosis accuracy up, it would ultimately benefit the whole industry, patients, prescribers, and physicians, and we would all get a value out of that. So that's using the technology without driving it behind the brand, but ultimately it still assists the brand. And if you can get that algorithm into most people's CT equipment, the next thing you know is you've got more patients ready to be treated with relevant drugs.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, it's probably not also just the big technologies, is it? There could be quite simple applications of existing or more simple predictive technologies that can make an impact here.
Julian mentioned wearables. The classic is you can go for calibrated wearables, and yes, you can include those in clinical trials of medical devices. But also we studied, for example, the use of step count in patients who are highly sedentary. And what you can detect from step count, for example, is prodromes. Patients go into a cycle of reduced activity, and that in itself can be predictive of a worsening in condition. So you just take something as simple as a Fitbit or your Apple Watch, and you just see another application for the data that comes out of it, which can actually be used with patients, either through the pharmaceutical industry, working on it in a really strong medico way where it's, everything is correctly regulated, or you can work with the patient group to work on the principles of using technology to help patients feel better and to manage their condition. Either way can be just as successful.